years cooking professionally all over the globe, doing the fancy fine dining thing, you know, putting tarragon foam and bubbles on everything and having a good time with it. And then about 9 years or so ago, the world's toughest food critic moved into my house. He's 9 years old now. He lives right down the hall. He's a great kid. His name's Gabe, super guy. Love him to death. Gabe actually has a 3-year-old sister now, too. You don't know that, do you? And of course, that, like all of you that are parents and all of you that are about to become parents, it changes you forever, to the good. And it just dramatically, radically changes your perspective. And in my case, I had to wake up virtually overnight. And I had to suck it up, and I had to realize that I don't actually know anything about cooking. And you could forgive me for thinking that I knew a thing or two about cooking, you know, all over the world, cooking for kings and queens and a president and all this stuff, and running one of the single best restaurants in Canada and blah, 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 and all of this devoted to figuring out how to charge as much money as I can for food and sell it to anonymous strangers. That's not cooking. You know, that's fine dining. This is cooking. You know, and I had to wake up and realize that. And really, perhaps the first thing that occurred to me, most definitely the first thing that sort of got onto my radar screen was that through food, we can do so many positive things for our families and our communities. And I didn't think about that stuff before. I was a cocky, arrogant, whatever, with a Sharpie in my pocket, drawing graffiti at the bookstore. You know, I was focused on that sort of impersonal commercial transaction and being as provocative and creative as I could with food. And I'm so proud of where I am now. And I'm so proud to be a resource to you and to my own family, and to know that I'm doing the best damn job I can cooking food, because it has such a profound influence on my son and my daughter and my family and my community and the people that I interact with, and that through food we can do so many positive things. And yet so many of us take food for granted, and we forget how simple food can be, and we tell ourselves that we can't cook and we're too busy to cook, and we have this very important job and this very important car in front of the very important house, and we're too busy to cook, and we're too busy to sit down and eat dinner with our families every day. And I guess I'm challenging you on that, folks, that if you're one of those folks and something's telling you you can't eat dinner with your family every day, you got to re-examine your priorities. That's not life. That's not what we're here for. We're here to spend time with family and friends, and through food we can do that. And you know, and flash forward to today, and I don't want to get up on my soapbox because it's Sunday morning. You want soapbox, you know where you can go on Sunday morning for that. But really, for me, it's just been this incredible journey of sharing, and I guess I've come to realize that as human beings, we're at our best when we gather and when we prepare and when we share food. It's what we do. You know, and then flash forward to today, and we've got this sort of odd relationship with food. We've got, on one hand, we have more food media than ever before in history. We're surrounded by it. In this store here, we've got websites and blogs and post office boxes crammed full of magazines, and a food network devoted to cooking shows. And come on, like 15 years ago, could you imagine that there would ever be such a thing? And we have more food media than ever before in history, yet at the same time we have less of us than ever before actually cook food. And how do you put those two together? How do you reconcile that? How come we have all this food media, but less of us are cooking food? How's that work? And I guess it comes down to, quite simply, we're watching TV and getting a vicarious thrill instead of actually getting off the couch and doing it. So anybody here that's actually taking the time to cook food and share it with your family, what a wonderfully positive thing you're doing. And keep it in perspective, because part of that whole media thing is that it sort of tells us that we're striving for perfection. And you've seen this a million times if you watch Food Network or if you read cookbooks. Somebody's always talking about the perfect way to do this. The perfect ingredient, the perfect tool, that obscure gizmo gadget that you've got that's in the back of the drawer now, gathering dust, you know the one I'm talking about, and it's always got to be perfect. And then you look at the cookbooks, and my books is no different than anybody else. You look at those pictures, your food will never look like the picture. It's not going to happen. You know, that's called food porn. You think I'm kidding? It's the real deal. I mean, I've been on these shoots. I know what it's like. You know, there's all these hot lights, and somebody's walking around misting oil in all the right places, you know, and there's a guy with a floppy hat, right? It's not real. And I guess I want to say to you that we don't strive for perfection as home cooks. It's not what we do. I did that. I know what that's like. Leave the stress and the strain of perfection to the chefs. Let them deal with that. For us at home, it's okay to screw it up. It's okay to burn the chicken and flip it over on the plate. You know, it's okay. And think of it, what's at stake? Not much, really. Your kid's still going to go to college, and the house isn't going to burn down. Well, some of you, but anyway. But seriously, I mean, really, we've got to put it in perspective. And at the same time, let's consider what recipes can be. I mean, I'm the guy with the cooking show about cooking without a recipe, with the cookbooks full of recipes. Yeah. What's that all about? And, you know, and really, for me, what it comes down to is that I think anything at all that gets you comfortable in the kitchen is a big plus, positive. I'm all for recipes. I got no problem with recipes. In fact, my next show for Food Network is going to be all about recipes. But at the same time, I'm not changing my perspective. And those of you that watch Chef at Home, you know that I advocate a certain freestyle approach, a certain looseness, it's okay. It's a certain, let's enjoy the journey and the destination. And isn't that what life is all about? And aren't we at our best when we're present here and now and smiling and understanding that food can actually be fun and cooking can be a stress reliever? And, you know, and I know for many of us, we've got ourselves all wrapped up thinking, I can't cook. Well, you're human. Absolutely you can cook. It's really only in the last 40, 30 years or so that people started to think, I can't cook. Hundreds of thousands of years of human evolution, we've cooked, we've gathered, prepared, and shared food, and now we can't cook all of a sudden? Yeah, you can cook, you just got to do it. But I guess to sum it all up, what I'm suggesting is that food is really at its best when you just relax about it, take it easy, and just keep it all in perspective. And recipes are okay, but don't think to yourself that perfection is the goal, or that your job is to exactly, perfectly duplicate what some cookbook author that you're never going to meet in some other time and place came up with, and that you've got to do it exactly this way. You don't. I mean, if it ends up a little different, it's okay. It's no big deal. The picture's just there to inspire you. So with all that in mind, anybody who's taken the time, anybody who's got a great positive working relationship with food, awesome. I mean, you're doing it. You got it right. That's what it's all about. And anybody who's taking the time to form local food connections, you know, we're so far past trend and fad, and we're well into, like, this is just the new norm, especially in St. Catharines in the Niagara region. I mean, this is one of the most wonderfully productive agricultural regions on the planet. You're right in the middle of it. What a great place to live and a great place to form those local food connections. And really, for me, there's so many great reasons to do that. And I could sit here and spout all kinds of nonsense about green and sustainable and all this, and it's actually not nonsense, and forgive me for saying that, because these are things that I believe in. But really, for me, what it comes down to is through local food connections, we can tell stories. And that's really what's missing from our food in so many ways today. We've lost the stories. It's become so impersonal. It's just something you go to the supermarket, there's big piles of it. And, you know, in the middle of February, you're looking at that big pile of rock-hard red round objects from California, and you know what I'm talking about. And those are not tomatoes. They're the ruination of Western civilization, from my perspective. What it takes to do that, it's just so metaphorically wrong, and yet there's no story to it. When you live in Niagara and you have a local food passion, you meet somebody very quickly who produces food. And when you do and you get to know them, it's not impersonal, it becomes personal. And when that story becomes a part of your food lifestyle, that's when we're at our best. Because again, at heart, we are human beings, and we are at our best when we gather, and when we prepare, and when we share food. Everybody get it? All right. You know, we actually have 2 of these microphones, so now let's do a little Q&A. What do you say? We've got a few minutes. I'm in no rush. I've got 4 more signings today or something, but whatever. I'm here with you guys now. So does anybody have a question or two?